Guys, this is Paul. Paul has just finished doing the spiral this week.
This week it's been, it was
Yeah,
Tuesday.
so it's been 12 weeks since you started.
Yeah, which weirdly it felt like a long time before I started, but now it's finished. It seems like it's gone in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, it does go so quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, I know what you mean. It feels like, I think because when you go through like a transformational journey, it kind of feels like, whoa, like so much has happened. So it feels like it's been ages, but at the same time,
I think it was that first day you sent me the invite, and then like in my calendar, my digital calendar, it put, and you're like, wow, I'm still scrolling and there's still more.
Yeah, so many sessions. So Paul, tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do for work.
So my name is Paul. I am 36, going to be 37 next month. I have been a graphic designer since I like to say not professionally, but since I was 16. I decided at 16 I was going to be a designer. And definitely have not really looked back ever since. I like to make things, and that's pretty much the bottom line.
Yeah.
So that's what I do for a job. But I have a lot of strengths with using my creative part of my brain over my mathematical and spelling brain. So, and then realistically, I suppose the other thing is that I've suffered not suffered. I say the word suffer. That's not the right word. I was diagnosed at 6 with renal failure, which is kidney failure. So I've had 3 transplants, several spouts on dialysis, and I suppose there's a lot of emotional tie with that I didn't really know about until I did the spiral. So
yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about where you were at just before you did the spiral. So when you were like, right, I think I want to do this, like what was it that you were going through?
Okay, so I think that realistically, I don't think that the time that we've all been in has been very easy with the pandemic. I think that that's been quite difficult. I went through what felt like nearly a year of breaking up with someone that I was living with, because obviously they couldn't go anywhere. I definitely was feeling pretty low after they left. And I suppose now I think about it, it was like an anxiety that I was suffering with, but at the time it was just like, I explained it to Val as like a piece of string in my heart, like in my soul or in my heart, that was like almost like cutting me in half. And I'd never really felt like that before. So with the pandemic and the breakup, and probably I think just living on my own for a while, I sort of got into a quite nasty cycle of I was smoking a lot of weed, I was eating really, really badly, and just was in this weird like place of, it was almost like a no man's land, but just going round and round in it. And when I came over to Guernsey to get away from the situation in London, I live in London, and I think that gave me some clarity on the fact that I was not right. I've had several times in my life when I've had counselling and psychotherapy, or whatever you want to call it, which is very normal and normally supplied by the hospital that I go to. But this was not like that. I didn't feel that talking about it was going to fix it. I felt that it was more worrying to me, maybe partly because of what the person that had left had said to me, but also I think I was just in a rut that I'd been in for like since the beginning of the pandemic back in March 2020. So I think that clarity of the few weeks that I spent in Guernsey maybe even having people that I really trust around me as well, that I could be confident enough to be like, there's something just not right and I need to fix it. To the point that I was starting to think that that I was like, what's the word? I've forgotten what the word is. But anyway, yeah, like just very in my brain, just not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that was the point that you were like, well, I actually put it on I think it was Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm open to taking some men through
Some
the spiral.
men.
And you
Yeah.
were like, yes. And then we jumped onto, well, you were like, yes, but at the same time, like,
I think that there was a lot of anxiety about something that, from my point of view, I didn't know about.
yeah.
Again, I think this is probably where the people that I know, who are my friends in Guernsey, are people that I trust full-heartedly. And I was very lucky in the fact that someone I know had just finished the spiral, which makes it a little bit less daunting when someone's like, you need to do it. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Don't look back. So I think that, again, from my point of view, and it's not for everyone, I just needed a little bit more of someone going, yeah, you'll be fine. And then obviously we had a discussion. And I think as well, you're right. I think that Instagram post or wherever it was a little bit of a, like, you know, the universe saying, right, you can do this. And then obviously we had a discussion, and then I felt, I mean, I don't think it was long after our discussion that I was like, no, I need to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it was like, 24 hours later or something.
yeah, it was not long.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was, yeah, it didn't take long for
And
me
you were
to.
a bit apprehensive about the stuff that you needed to do throughout, like the integration tasks and stuff, weren't you?
Yeah, weirdly, I think I was more worried about that than the actual one-to-one sessions.
Like, what do I need to do? What are you going to make me do?
Yeah. Uh, my personal hell is having to write things down. And I know that other people had said, oh, there's quite a lot of writing involved. I also knew that there was sort of note taking and things like that. But actually, I think as soon as I went, hang on, you've dealt with much more complicated things than doing a course or writing down some bits and bobs, basically, you'll find your way through it, whatever. And then I think after the first few, the journaling things that you obviously put up for people to do, I think that, I don't know about you, but I felt I got much more into it as I got, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 words the first time. And then by the end, it was like 15 paragraphs.
Yeah.
It just sort of,
like, send it to me the day before so I have time.
yeah. Which was fine the first week because it was like not much, but by the end it was realms and realms.
Yeah.
But then also there was other things that I did, like I bought a sketchbook that doesn't have lines in it because I can't stand lines, and that's helped. There's also been like doing voice notes to myself instead of physically writing things down, which has helped. The books that you've recommended, luckily, have always been audiobooks, so I've just listened to them as audiobooks. So the dyslexic part of my brain has not really had to struggle too much, really, at all. And the writing is not, it's not like, I mean, my personal hell is filling in forms, and it's not at all like that.
It's not like it needs to look a certain way or be a certain way. It's just whatever's right for you.
Yeah. And, you know, I think the first few weeks I was probably writing things like, I don't think this has got anything to do with what we're talking about, but blah, 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 blah. And then I realized that it all had everything to do with what I was talking about. And I was better to just write it all down and get it out of myself. So, yeah.
Awesome. Tell me about your journey through the spiral. What did you feel like it was like?
So I think because of my past and my sort of my health, but also the dealing with, you know, a lot of quite difficult situations in my life that have got, you know, that a lot of people have never really had to deal with. I felt that I knew myself quite well even before I started the spiral. And I think if we didn't really talk about it, but if you've been like, do you understand like why you're like this and why you do this, I would have maybe given it a go and probably have known a little bit. But now I've finished, and even after the first few weeks, I think I was just like, my God, I don't know enough. Like, I don't know a lot. I don't know what I think I know about myself. And what I think I know about myself is not actually, it's like the top line. It's not any deeper than that. And I think now I look back at it, it's like knowing something, but not fully knowing it. It's like a maths question you know how to work out, but you can't get the answer.
Yeah.
Like in your brain, you know how to figure it out, but you can't actually get to where you need to get with it. And I think it's that clarity that is the thing that has made it much, well, now I feel is much easier for me, because I can go not just, oh, when this happened, I felt miserable. It's like, on this day, when this person said this to me, it made me feel this, which affected X, Y, and Z. And that's why I feel like that. And I've been carrying that around for 25 years. That is it.
Yeah. And you said this to me the other day about like the whole understanding thing, like you kind of understood yourself, but now it's like on a deeper level. And it's like I was saying to you the other day, it's like when you're clearing all of this stuff, you're just able to first move things through your body like way more easily, like your emotions and stuff. And also because like you're raising your vibration, you're also understanding things on a much more embodied level. So yeah, like I said the other day, it's almost like, I get this so often, by the way. I'm like, oh yeah, I understand that. And I'm sure you do too. I'm sure like loads of people do. Yeah, I get it. And then like one day something happens, or like you read something or you listen to something and you're like, fuck, now I actually really, like, I thought I understood that before. And now like I just really understand it. And I can actually feel the understanding in my body.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. And probably nearer the end, it's like, it's not just you understand, but you catch yourself going, well, I'm not going to do that. That's when you're like, I really am getting into this, in the fact that you can go, oh, I would normally do this or say this, like it would be an action or a thought or something you'd vocalize. And that ability to go, actually, no, I don't need to say that, and I don't need to think that, and I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
That's when you start to realize, and then instantly you like feel lighter anyway, because you're just like,
yeah, and that's because you're so much more conscious, right? Because you're bringing all of this stuff up from your subconscious, making it conscious. And then like again, like you were saying the other day, I can't remember what it was, but you would have normally reacted in a certain way, and you were like, hang on, like I don't actually need to react that way, because I just don't need to, like I'm not that person anymore. And that's like because you're so conscious of like how you respond to situations and to conversations and stuff, which is so awesome.
Yeah, I think that's one of the sort of subtler but more important things that I took away from it, was that correlation. A lot of people who know me well will know that I can be quite arrogant, but the arrogancy was born from pride, from a problem with my pride, which we obviously worked out. And now I don't need to be arrogant, because I know why my pride was hurt before, and I can deal with that pride problem. So now, I mean, I'm not going to be completely and utterly like a hermit crab, but
and we did that. Like, I'm okay with being arrogant. We cleared that as well. That was quite a big thing for you, the arrogance.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah.
And of course, the thing was that whole thing came out from me writing on my phone one night in the middle of the night, like writing stuff down. And there was this one thing that we'd not spoken about, that I'd never told you about. And I was like, why have we never spoken about this? And then I was like, hang on, actually, that is literally the whole problem, is that one little thing.
Yeah.
And that is, it's like the piece of the puzzle fits, and you go, actually, now I can see the whole thing. It's not as bad as I have been thought it has been for the last, weirdly, 30 years, which is crazy. I think there's a bit of a correlation between the fact that it was it was 6 when I was diagnosed, and now I'm 36, and it's like 30 years of dealing with that thing that has now sort of disappeared, which is mental.
Yeah.
But that's also because you were 6 and you didn't understand. Like,
yeah, of course.
I would have never understood at 6 why things were happening.
Yeah.
But I can deal with it fine now. I'm 30 years older, and it's like, oh, actually, that doesn't really matter.
And that's a big part of, this, like inner child work. So often we're going through a difficult time, or we're journeying through some kind of emotion, and on a logical level, we're like, why am I getting so, I don't know, upset about this? Like, it's not even a big deal, and we beat ourselves up about it. But that's triggered by something that happened normally when you're a child. And as a child, like on an emotional level, your emotional body doesn't think logically. And so like you have to really look at that emotion as like, shit, this is like a small little version of me that just doesn't really understand what's going on, and it's just being triggered right now, so I just need to give it love and support. Rather than like, stop being a dick or stop being stupid, like, why are you overreacting? And then just like pushing it down.
Well, and I think it's even worse in my case, because I couldn't even make the correlation between what I was doing now and it being that age. Like, there was no connection between the two. So I would have never sorted it out. I would have gone through my entire life just being like, I'm arrogant because I'm arrogant. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's just how I am, which is actually, balls, actually. It isn't that at all.
Okay. You had loads of breakthroughs. I mean, I remember just on the first session, age 12 came up. I think it was on the first emotion that we cleared, and you were like, fuck, oh my God, this is huge. So talk to me about like the biggest breakthroughs that you've had.
Well, I think the one we've just spoken about, the pride one, I think that's not a big one. It's a subtle one that, like, it's not a sledgehammer. It's just like, that's very interesting to know. I think, I can't remember which week it was, the creative one where you gave me the task of doing something creative.
Maybe 2. It was either 2 or 5.
I think it would have been 2. It was definitely early on. I think that 2, so you asked me to do, I can't remember if you said do something creative, or you said do something creative, and I said I can't do something that I do every day creatively. I have to do something different. And that was
I think I said to you, you need to do something for you, not for work. And it was, I think this was the task where you're just doing it not for like perfection, or it needs to look a certain way, but you're just basically creating how you feel in that moment.
Exactly. So that was, and I remember it very clearly, it was a Thursday afternoon, and weirdly I was lying in bed. It was about 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was like, come on, I need to go and do this thing. And I went downstairs. I put a cardboard box on the kitchen table, and then I put an A4 sketchbook on top of the piece of cardboard, and I was looking at the blank piece of paper, and I was like, I'm not going to bother with the sketchbook. So I put that to one side and just started throwing stuff. And I remember thinking I'll do something painted or something creative, like drawing wise, because I thought I had loads of art stuff that I could do with, like at least a paintbrush and a bit of paint. Anyway, I didn't have any paintbrushes. I didn't have anything. I had some Posca pens and I had some inks. And I literally spent 7 hours just working on this piece of cardboard. And I was really thrilled with what came out because I really like it. But I just looked at it and I was just like almost in awe of it, because I was like, shit, that's just come out of me, and I've not been letting that out of me for what feels like years and years. I mean, I used to draw a lot, probably well into my mid to late 20s, but I haven't done it for since then. So we're talking like maybe 10 years ago that I sort of did something like that, and that I've carried on the whole time, and I make stuff all the time, and I have to do it, and I have to do it for myself. And it's not about putting it on social media, it's not about any of that, it's just I have to do it. And I feel really guilty because it's been about a week or maybe even a week and a half since I've actually done anything. And I can feel myself being like, I mean, work's been really busy, so I've had to do the work, but like this weekend I need to spend an afternoon or a day just like
creating, getting in the zone.
Just, I mean, we've spoken about this a lot, that there's no right or wrong answer, there's just learning. And I think that is why I need to do it, is that it's me learning, like getting better at being creative, so that it feeds the job. It's not that that the job isn't creative enough, which is what I thought it was. It's just I have to do that for all these people that want me to do things that they want.
Yeah. And for your own, I think you said it before, it's also like to create that own space for you to kind of just it's basically channeling. You're basically channeling.
I mean, it's like you going, I've written 20 pages of journaling this morning. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But we're just the output slightly different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and you know, I need to do it. You know, now, and when I'm booked for jobs, I'm trying to do 4 days a week. So I've got a day to do stuff for myself, because I can't go through thinking anymore that by satisfying other people's needs is satisfying my creativity, because it's not.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, awesome. So the pride thing, creativity, tell me more.
Eating was a massive one.
Yeah.
I don't know what week it was. I think it was the throat week.
Yeah, week 5. Yeah, maybe. I can't remember actually.
I mean, that week was pretty big for me.
Yeah.
Especially because that's the one after the heart, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's so week 5 is expression.
Messaging you on that Friday. Like, is it right that I feel like I want to die right now?
Yeah. Yeah, that was hard. That was after heart chakra week. And obviously that's going to happen, especially having gone through a breakup.
Yeah.
And you're still like holding on to that a lot.
Yeah, totally. And but after that week, the throat week was just mammoth, because there was like, I spoke to people I needed to speak to.
That was a really good
that
week.
was quite a big one.
You had conversations that you were kind of putting off, and you were like, oh, I don't really want to have this conversation. And
yeah, so that was quite a big one. And then I think that was the week that, it's weird because I don't feel like I have a problem talking, but it's not the problem in the talking, it's the being heard that's the problem. And I had a lot of problems with that. And I think in some ways, I suppose it's again connected to the creativity, but that, and probably the pride thing, I don't know if that was the same week, but they feel like they were both very close together.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I can't remember, it was like one day I was working for someone, and it got to like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was just like, I don't really want to eat anything ever again. Like, I feel so full and like sluggish and horrible. And that was a massive one, because then I just stopped eating. Like, not stopped eating like I was unhealthy, but I wasn't snacking all the time, and I wasn't like, the big one for me was that I would get to sort of 7-8 o'clock at night, go and cook my dinner, big massive dinner, and then eat that, and then not feel full, eat more stuff, and then before I went to bed, I was like, couldn't move because I'd eaten everything in sight.
And that was intertwined with the weed as well, right? So it was almost like you were in this pattern of,
I think early on, but by then I was much more off that.
Yeah. And I think that like the stopping the weed, I can't remember what week that was. Was that week 3?
It was early on because I felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
I felt really bad about it because I was just, it was, it's very difficult because the creative aspect of smoking weed is great, but I was smoking all the time, like all day, and it would be fine because I'd still get my job done and I'd still do what I had to do in the day, and it wouldn't affect anything else. Like, it wasn't like clients were going, well, you've not done what you said you were going to do, so we're firing you or we're not booking you again. So I was quite an effective smoker in the fact that I got stuff done still. But also it was killer for the eating, because you just were hungry from the munchies basically. So as soon as I realized that was the thing that was causing me a lot of problems, I think I went at least 2 weeks before almost 2 weeks the first time around without it, and started to like feel much more normal. And then that was like 4, maybe 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So,
and that was really like, again, it was like the weed and the food was like this vicious cycle of suppression, wasn't it? Of like suppressing something, whether that's
yeah,
an emotion or
yeah, and I think a little bit of that was the breakup, but I think more of it is that, I mean, I was doing that before I was even with the person, so
yeah,
it's not like it's just happened since I've been feeling miserable. It's been there for a long time. But I think that's also probably weirdly because of things that I just didn't understand or didn't know. So I can't really, and I wouldn't have known, so I couldn't have changed it without a higher or a bigger, intervention, which was the spiral, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so eating, weed, pride thing, arrogance, creativity. Is there anything else that you want to share breakthrough wise? Oh, putting your prices up.
Yes. Yeah, that's quite a big one. I mean, I can imagine that there's probably at least 3 or 4 people that would just be like, Jesus, Paul, you're putting your prices up. But also, I think that, like I say, I've been doing this since I was 16. It's not like something that I've just picked up in the last few years, and I've been doing it a hell of a long time. And it's what I'm meant to do. So if you want me to do it for you, you have to pay for that.
Yeah, and it comes down to value, right? Like you said, you value yourself and your work so much more.
Yeah.
Which then is obviously going to be reflective in your prices.
Of course.
Because
and
it's all based on worth, right?
It is based on worth. And there's a difficult thing with being a designer or a creative, that people think that jobs of kudos, or exposure get of what people want as designers. Like, if you do this for me, you'll get loads of exposure, which I think is very true if you're 22 and you've just got out of university and you want exposure. But I'm not 22 and I don't want your exposure.
Give me the money.
Yeah, because it's really difficult, because, and especially having left Guernsey, I think the thing about it is that creativity is incredibly valuable, but it's not valued in Guernsey as it is in other places. And that's no offense to Guernsey in any shape or form, but like, that's one of the reasons I moved to London, was that I needed to go to that next level.
Yeah.
So now I've done that move, which is a massive thing to do. but now I need to now make the next move, which is basically know my own value of what I'm bringing to the table when we sit down in a room and go, right, Paul, I need you to do this. And I can go, yeah, that's not a problem. Just leave it with me and it will be sorted. And that's, in my mind, that's almost invaluable to have someone go, well, I mean, I think this is the correlation that we both have with each other about things, is that your confidence about the spiral when we started was almost like me talking to a client at the beginning of doing a job. It's like, listen, you don't need to worry, it will do its thing, like it will sort itself out. And it's like me going, well, I'll sort it out, don't worry. So I think that probably helped me decide to do it as well, is that when someone goes, it's all going to be fine and it's all going to be sorted, that changes it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's self-belief. It's gonna on an energetic level, that's just
Exactly.
gonna shift things. Okay, so you've obviously completed the spiral now. You've had all these breakthroughs.
Yeah.
What do you feel like has been the biggest transformational part for you?
This is one of those questions you ask me about and I have to think about for 40 minutes before I answer. I think that probably, I mean, all of the things we've gone through that I think that a lot of it it's just the idea of being able to go, yeah, I can do that. Like, why have I ever worried about that? Like, I can totally do that. There was something I was thinking about today. I was thinking about something and I was like, yeah, but I could just do that. Oh God, what was it? Oh, I remember what it was. I was just cleaning out a box upstairs which now is filled with art stuff, because I've gone out and bought loads of art stuff because I want to do drawing and stuff. And there was a book in there, and it's like quite a hefty book. It has got a lot of pictures in it, I must admit, but I've had this book for, I reckon, about a year, maybe 2 years, and it's about creativity and cooking. Anyway, I just was like, why haven't I read this book? Like, I should just read this book. Like, and normally I'd just be like, oh, well, I'll have a look through it and then put it away, put it back on the bookshelf or whatever it is. But then I put it next to my bed. I was like, I'm going to read this book. Like, to me, that is a massive thing. Loads of people be like, that's rubbish, like, book. But for me, that's a massive thing. And it's probably going to take me, sorry?
Because you're making conscious choice.
Yeah, because I'm like, I can read a book. It's not the end of the world. And it's probably going to take me a year to read it, but I can still read it.
Yeah.
So I think it's that switch of being like, I'm just going to try that.
Yeah, it's like broadening your perspective and like, again, making like more conscious choices, and also seeing that there's so much more that is possible.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is that, there might be some gem in that book that, because it's obviously about creativity, that I might read and it might completely change my world.
Yeah.
But I don't know that yet because I haven't bloody read it. So, I don't know. Like,
yeah, it's like having that like openness and curiosity to like what could be. And like this example of the book, what it sounds like you're saying is that that's like how your stance of life is more like now. It's like having this openness. It's funny because Helena said this in her testimonial as well. It's like almost like being excited for the possibilities, even though you don't know what's going to happen. And you said this in your last session, I think. It's like you don't know what's going to happen. You're kind of like fully surrendered to whatever's going to happen, but you're excited about it. Because
and I think that again was from that is it Autonomy of
Anatomy of the Spirit?
I always get those words mixed up. And in there it's just like just don't worry about the unknown, like just jump into the unknown. Like, you might end up being in a much better place because of the unknown than you worrying about being in the unknown, because you're wasting the time.
And I just want to speak on that actually really quickly. The difference is that because you've cleared a load of stuff from your system, and again, like, you're obviously at a higher vibration now. You've got, if you see it as like, when you're holding on to like a lot of like dense emotion, you literally are more dense. So it's hard to have trust, because trust is like a higher vibration emotion.
Mm.
And so, yes, obviously you're saying like, stop worrying about it, just lean in, like, just trust. But it's very hard to, when you're in like a state of like shame or like depression or like deep anxiety, do you know what I mean? It's very hard for you to drop into trust. And that's what, one of the things that the spiral is so amazing at, is just clearing out all of that shit. And that was a huge thing for me as well when I did the spiral, both times, is that I just felt like this, like, it's all going to be okay. Like, I don't need to worry about anything, because I know that it's going to be okay. I just had this deep trust in like
Yeah.
myself and my decisions, in what was going to happen, in the universe. And that does come from like just clearing away all of those like suppressed and repressed emotions, because you're literally creating a clearer channel.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the other thing that's happened, like, it's all interlinked, as you know. But the other
Yeah.
thing I did this morning was throw a load of clothes away, because I was like, I'm going to lose loads more weight and I'm going to have to buy new
Yes.
clothes. So I'm just going to throw this stuff out because I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Like that, normally I would have been like, I better keep that because I might put the weight back on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
I love that. That's such a
yeah,
good way to end the spiral as well, Paul.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I don't need that shit anymore. I'm just letting it all go,
yeah,
and letting go of all the baggage.
yeah. So it's definitely, I literally tried on every t-shirt I had this morning. And if I didn't like it, or it was too big, I was like, there was none that didn't fit me. Like, there's stuff I've worn for years that now fits me. So I'm like, I love this t-shirt. I'm going to wear this more often.
Yeah.
But then also I'm like, well, that doesn't fit me anymore. And I look like I'm drowning in this t-shirt. I need to not worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Amazing. I think we're done.
yeah.
Unless you want to add anything.
Um, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
I
thank
don't
you
think
so
there's
much.
any need to add any more.
Yeah, we've covered quite a lot.
Yeah. Have we managed to do it under 3.5 hours?
I think I said 30 minutes, but it's been 40.
That's about
That's
the percentage that we normally go over.
yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
That's not a
Guys,
problem.
if you've got any questions, please just drop them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Or if you've got any questions for Paul, just tag him in and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer.
Yeah. And yeah, if you need any design work, you need to go through my broker, Val, who's pays
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah. Yeah, go well, you're not even that bothered about followers, but
No, not at all. In fact, I've been working on putting some more stuff up on Instagram, because there's been a load of new stuff come out and there's stuff that I want to show people. But also, I weirdly watched an interview with Snowden yesterday. I was like, right, I need to buy a Nokia 3310 so that no one knows where I am. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword right now.
what's your Instagram handle?
At Mr. One, so Mista 1ONE. And then I've got one that's Mr. Ree, which is MIST___ Y, I think. But there's one on the Mr. One, you can just click through to it.
Yeah, cool. We'll pop it in the comments so that people can follow you, because your artwork is amazing, and then you might get some work out of it too.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah,
That's a bonus.
Just take note that he's put his prices up.
Yeah. So don't fall off your chair when I send you an email back.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Belle. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.